Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kira and today I'm reflecting on the last 365 days of colouring. Well, give or take a few days because we're not quite at the end of the year yet, but we basically are. I'll be answering 15 questions to look back on my colouring progress for the year, as well as an additional 7 questions to talk about what I'm most excited for and what I'm hoping to achieve in 2025. These questions are a combination of the ones that I answered in my mid-year check-in at the halfway point in 2024, as well as some of the questions from my Colourful Country Life's Colouring Reflections tag. Whew, that was a mouthful to say. I decided to create my own unique mix of questions because obviously everyone is different and their colouring journeys are unique to them, and I wanted to answer questions that felt the most pertinent to me and my channel. Plus, it'll be really interesting to reflect on some of the answers that I give in this video at the end of next year just to see how far I've come. I also wanted to do a quick PSA before we get into the questions. I know a lot of people take some time off from filming during this time of the year. However, I have decided to stick to my regular uploading schedule, which is every 5 to 6 days. However, I am just going to be doing sit-down videos till probably around mid-January, just because they're a little bit easier for me to edit and film. So I'll still be able to have a little bit of extra time off during this festive New Year period while still getting some awesome content out there for you guys. So without further ado, let's get into my colouring recap for 2024. Question number 1 is how many pages did I colour in 2024? Currently, I am sitting at 95. However, I reckon I might be able to squeeze in 2 more. Definitely 1 more because I'm nearly finished a page right now. So I'm hoping I can get to 97. It would have been nice to finish on 100, but I'm just not gonna get there. Question number 2, how many books did I colour in this year? I coloured in 19 books in total. What were your favourite completed pages from the year? Now, I've decided to do my top 5. Just felt like a good solid number. So the first page I'm going to show you is one that I have shown a gazillion times on my channel. So I'm not going to talk about it too much, but this is definitely one of my favourites. It is the title page from Mine Rise a Dirch Asian by Rita Berman. This one is pretty much an exact replication of Rita Berman's page that she did. She coloured this herself, posted it on Instagram, and I just thought it was freaking amazing. So I decided to recreate it myself, and I'm just so happy that I was able to pull it off. And I think this page is just always going to be one of my favorites, and it's the first Rita Berman page I ever colored as well. Next up is another page I've shown quite frequently on the channel. It's from Small Victories by Johanna Basford. I've spoken about it before, I'll speak about it again. I just love how all the colors came together on this page. It is semi-realistic, but also really colorful and vibrant at the same time. And I think that is what I really love in my coloring pages. Like a tinsy bit of realism, but also a lot of bright, fun colors. The next 3 pages I'm going to show you, I've all done within, I think, the last 2 to 3 months. We'll start off with Boule de Poire by Diane Dufour. I showed this page in my last video as well. Yet again, something about the colors on this page really just sticks out to me. We got these colorful pumpkins with all these multicolored acrylic highlights. And I think it was a smart decision to do the cats in a more plain color scheme, just so everything else could stick out on the page. Then we have my only page that I've done so far in Spooky by Sarah Shuchik. Still don't know if I'm saying it right, but I'm just trying to act confident. I think what really made this page a favorite for me is the background. I really love how this watercolor heart background came to life. I have a tutorial on this on my channel if you want to check it out. I'll put it up in the eye above. And I remember once I completed the background, I was slightly worried that it was going to be too busy, but I think it's all come together really well. I didn't go too crazy with my color combinations for all the foreground elements, and I think that really did help the entire page come together. And I'm really looking forward to coloring a few more pages in this book next year. And then a final favorite page of mine from this year is actually one that I did this month, and it is from A Million Little Monsters by Lulu Mayo. And it is this self-made sort of candy gingerbread house here. I very much wanted to make it seem very Christmassy, and I think I've managed to do that. It was inspired by Lena Art on Instagram. I spoke about this in my last video, but I've really been struggling to figure out how I want to color Lulu Mayo's images. And when I saw Lena Art's version of this page, I just knew that is how I wanted my pages to look in Lulu Mayo's books. So as you can see, I've used a lot of white acrylic marker, and I do think that really helps some elements stick out on the page because there are a lot of elements to Lulu Mayo's pages. And so having some of them outlined in white just really brings them to the foreground, adds a bit more visual interest to the illustrations as well. And one of the reasons that I love Lulu Mayo's illustrations is just because they're so fun and quirky, and because they're so unrealistic. You can really just have so much fun with color and different mediums, and I think that's definitely what I'm going to use Lulu Mayo's books for. Question number 4 is the opposite end of the spectrum. What were your least favorite pages that you colored this year? So I've chosen 3 pages that when I look at them, I go, oh, I could do such a better job of that now. And all 3 are in Small Victories by Johanna Basford because I was obsessed with this book at the beginning of my coloring journey. So most of my pages that I did, you know, at the beginning are in this book. And you know, when you're learning, you make some mistakes, and I definitely made some mistakes on some of these pages. 2 of these pages I did show in my mid-year check-in, and they're still pages that I don't love when I look at them. The first is this flower bunches page, which I think has grown on me a little bit over time, but I still think it's one of my least favorites. I'm not sure what it is, but I really don't like these colors together. Like when I look at each individual bunch of flowers, I think they look fine, but when I look at everything together as a cohesive page, it just doesn't gel for me, and I think that's why it's one of my least favorite pages from the year. We then have this other flower page, and I just really don't like how the colors came together on this page either. I think my blending is good, but I just don't like the colors I've chosen. I tried to go with a very retro color palette, very 60s, 70s flower power vibe, and I think that's just not me and my personal color preferences. I know a lot of people actually do like this page, but I don't. So that's that page there. And the final one in this book that I did probably towards the midway point of the year, and I actually did it for a video on this channel, which is how to choose your color palettes for your pages. And this is another instance where I kind of like all of the little vignettes separately, but together they just don't mesh for me for a cohesive page. I just feel like it looks really busy and messy to me, and I think I went too ham with the white acrylic marker details. I think actually these might be white gel pen details, I'm not too sure. But yeah, for each vignette I used a different color picking technique, and I really like the techniques that I showed. I just don't like how this page came together. But always remember, at the end of the day, which I have to remind myself as well, as long as you had fun coloring, that is a successful page. So all of these pages are successful, even if I don't love them. Coloring is all just about having fun and distracting yourself from the stresses of everyday life. At least that's why I color. Question number 5 is, what were the most challenging pages that you colored in 2024? Now, I actually did a few challenge videos on my channel this year, and so I figured those were the perfect pages to show for this question. I can't remember what order I did them in. I think I did this challenge video first. It was supposed to be an only alcohol marker coloring challenge, but I did go in with a few glitter details and acrylic marker details at the end, but I didn't use any pencil, which is a big challenge for me. And it was this page here Do I look at this page and love it? No, but I am very proud of myself for pushing myself out of my comfort zone. I definitely learned a lot about using alcohol markers through this challenge, because if you don't challenge yourself, you're never gonna grow as a colorist, so it is important to challenge yourself every now and again. I don't know if I'll do this again, unless if it's for a challenge for the video. I just really prefer the effect of doing a base of alcohol markers and then going in over the top with my colored pencils for shading details. It's just the look that I prefer. And then within the similar vein of the alcohol marker challenge, this was an acrylic marker challenge where I only colored with acrylic markers. I did not cheat this time, and it was for these 4 vignettes here in Small Victories. I seriously loved doing this challenge so much. It felt really mindless at the time and obviously was a lot faster than standard pencil coloring. Do I look at this page and love it? No, I'm always going to prefer my colored pencil work, but it was a really fun challenge, got me out of my comfort zone, and I think it's something you should try if you're in a coloring slump or are someone who loves doing those, what are they called? The color by number books. It kind of reminded me of that, but I had the freedom of choosing my own colors. Question number 6 is, what was your most liked photo on Instagram? Small Victories is coming out again, and it was this vignette page here. This is a very popular page in general for people to color in this book on Instagram, so I think that may have played into the high like count. But this page also holds a special place in my heart because it was my very first tutorial video that I did on the channel. So if you want to see how I colored the mushroom vignette in this page, definitely check that video out. But you guys loved that tutorial and it really gave me the confidence to do all the tutorials that I've done so far on my channel. Question number 7, what book did you color the most in 2024? I think we all know what this book is going to be. Come on, let's say it together. 3, 2, 1. Small Victories by Johanna Basford. I colored in this book so much at the beginning of the year, at the beginning of my coloring journey. This is the book that we can all thank for getting me addicted to adult coloring. Question number 8 is, what was your favorite coloring book release of 2024? So most of the books that I purchased this year and added to my collection weren't actually released this year, but 2 of them were. First off, we have Magical Woodland by Kate Pellerin. I have only colored 1 page in this book, but Kate Pellerin's work is just so unique in comparison to a lot of the other coloring books that are in my collection. It's a very sketchy style. The line work is very thin and almost pencil-like. And I found that that really influenced the way that I colored the 1 page that I have colored in this book. I also love the paper. It is super thick, and obviously because it's single-sided, I can use my alcohol markers as a base, which is just my favorite thing to do. So Magical Woodland, definitely one of my favorite books that I've added to my collection this year, as well as a 2024 new release. And then we have Shooting Star by Maria Troll. Technically, this I think was actually released in 2023, but it was the, I don't know, is it the Swedish version? You know what, I'm gonna actually Google this right now so I don't butcher Maria Troll's origins. Where is Maria Troll from? Sweden! I was correct. Anyway, I believe Shooting Star, the Swedish version, came out in 2023 and then the English version came out in 2024. But what I really love about this book is that you have a lot of creative freedom with a lot of the pages. There's a lot of space, but not too much space, if that makes any sense. So you have a lot of freedom to add your own elements, add your own backgrounds, but at the same time, there's not a lot to fill in as well. I also love that a lot of the pages in this coloring book have a circular motif, and there's something that when I look at a completed page that's within a circular motif, it is just really aesthetically pleasing to my eyes. So yes, that is my second favorite release for this year. Question number 9 is, how many books did you add to your collection this year? This is a little bit crazy, everyone. If we're counting all of the books that I got for Christmas, which was yesterday when I'm filming this, I started with 2 books in my collection at the beginning of the year, and I ended with 30. I added 28 books to my collection in 2024. That is absolutely insane. But I just had so much catching up to do with all the amazing coloring books out there since I only started coloring at the end of 2023. Question number 10, how many untouched books do you currently have in your collection? If we're counting the books that I got for Christmas, I currently have 11 untouched books. But if I don't count the books that I literally just got yesterday, I only have one untouched book. So I don't know which answer is correct in that circumstance, but those are the two answers I'm going to give you. Question number 11 is, do you have any coloring regrets from this year? Yes. Yes, I do. So I answered this question in my mid-year check-in video, and at that point I said I regretted adding Amazon books to my collection because the paper quality was horrible and uncolorable in my opinion. Okay, I didn't say it like that, but that's what I was thinking. And I was absolutely way too quick to judge. You can definitely create some amazing pages on Amazon paper. You just have to find the right techniques, the right products, and do a lot of testing and practicing. The pages that I've done in Year of Witches is definitely a great example of that. I really love a majority of the pages that I've colored in this book, and they're literally all on Amazon paper, which is probably the worst quality paper that I have in my collection. So yeah, that's definitely a regret of mine. I was too quick to judge Amazon paper. But my second regret for the year is not testing my supplies before adding them to my coloring pages. I don't know if I will ever learn from this lesson because I'm just super impatient and want to go straight in with my coloring supplies on the pages. But in not testing my supplies beforehand, I did have to rip out a page or two this year from my coloring books, which is never a good feeling because I just didn't test them beforehand. I didn't test how they would react on the paper, and in doing so, I completely ruined those couple of pages. So even if I don't learn from this lesson, you at home should learn from me. Always test your supplies beforehand so you don't have any coloring page casualties. And my final regret from the year is actually a purchase regret, which is the Pentel Dual, I always struggle to say it, the Pentel Dual Hybrid Glitter Gel Pens. Or is it metallic gel pens? But anyway, I like the silver and gold in this set, as well as I think like one or two other colors, but I really don't like a majority of the gel pens in this set because they're not the same color that they say that they are. They have two different types of glitter in the gel pen, and because of that, they often dry a different color than you anticipate. I mean, obviously I have my swatches, so I know what color they're gonna dry as, but I just wish they would dry the same color that the pen barrel is. But recently I did find a different gel pen product, which I do really love. So I'm going to be sharing that with you in my next video, which is going to be a massive coloring haul video. So definitely subscribe if you don't want to miss out on that. Question number 12 is, what new techniques did you learn this year? I'm talking about my mid-year check-in video again, but there was a question in that video that was something along the lines of, what techniques do you want to learn in the second half of the year? So I thought it would be fun to reflect on those to see if I actually ended up learning those techniques that I said in that video. So I said I wanted to base with watercolors. Have not done that. I wanted to learn how to use soft pastels. I definitely did learn that to some degree. I still want to improve and grow that skill more, but I am going to give that a tick. And then the third one was learn how to do a bokeh background. I'm giving this a half tick because I did learn it to some degree, but I want to improve that skill a lot more. I really want to learn how to do like overlapping of different colors. I'll put a picture here of what I mean. This is the kind of background I really want to learn how to do because it just looks so gorgeous and effective in my opinion. So that's definitely a skill I want to learn next year. But in regards to other techniques that I learned this year, I learned so much because I'm at the beginning of my coloring journey still. But I thought I'd quickly rattle off a few techniques that I feel like I'm really starting to get under my belt. Alcohol marker blending, definitely learned that from that challenge video. Acrylic marker techniques. Watercolor backgrounds was another technique that I dabbled in this year, but I think I still have a long way to go to really master the medium. I started doing hair, skin, fur, and wood textures this year. Had not tried it before 2024, so I'm very proud of myself for pushing myself out of my comfort zone. Those textures still scare me, but not as much since I took the plunge and gave them a go. I also started practicing light sources this year, something I still want to improve on a lot. but it is a technique that I started to practice. Question number 13, which pencil set did you use the most this year? This is a very easy question for me to answer because I only had one standard pencil set until probably the midway point of this year, maybe even a little bit later. And that set was my 160 set of Brute Funers. I definitely do not use them as much anymore because I've become a bit of a Prismacolor stan, but the Brute Funers were my first set of pencils, the only set of pencils I owned for a very long time, and I still think they are a great beginner pencil set. Because they're not an artist grade pencil, they really get you to practice your techniques, hone your coloring skills, so that when you do go to those artist grade products, they are just so much easier to use and you aren't relying on the product doing the work for you. Question number 4 is 2 questions in one. How many videos did you upload in 2024 and which upload was your favorite? So including this video here, I have uploaded 40 videos on my YouTube channel. That's not including shorts or anything, that's just long form videos. I started my channel in June, so I feel like 40 videos for, half of the year is a pretty good effort. And in regards to my favorite upload, I have 2 answers for this question. I think my upload that is my favorite / the one I'm most proud of is my how to color like Rita Berman video where I showed you how to create color combinations like her. I spent so long researching for that video. I looked at Rita Berman's work, I looked at all of the pages on her Instagram, analyzed different color combinations, and I'm just really happy with how all that research came together and how I was able to present that information to all of you watching. And then I have an upload that's actually the one that was the most fun for me to film, and ironically it is the video on my channel that has the least number of views, which is why I haven't done it again, but it is my I let my Instagram followers choose my coloring plans for the month video. I love putting polls on my Instagram stories and seeing which choice you guys choose, and even though it wasn't received the most successfully, I had a lot of fun filming it. Alright, now we're up to question 15, which is the last of the coloring recap questions. It is, did you meet the coloring goals that you set for yourself at the beginning of the year? Technically, I set these goals for myself at the midway point of the year when I really started to immerse myself in the YouTube coloring community. My first goal was to color 90 pages over the entire year, which, as we already know, I did manage to do that. My second goal was to have 0 untouched books in my collection, which technically I did not do. Even if we don't count the lots of books that I got for Christmas, I still had 1 untouched book in my collection, so got very close to hitting that goal but didn't quite get there. My third goal was to start a coloring journal and, track all my statistics, which I did do. I started a coloring journal on Notion. And my last goal was to upload 5 videos every month, which I did do. I think for most months I uploaded 6, but I did always at least upload 5. So 3 out of the 4 goals that I set myself were met, which I'm pretty happy with. Okay, now it's time to get into the 7 questions pertaining to 2025. The first question is, what are your most anticipated releases for 2025? There are 4 books that I am most excited about for next year. Number 1 is Sagen by Maria Troll. Technically, that book was released this year. However, I am waiting for the English edition to come out on Amazon in 2025. So I'm very excited for that one to come out. The pages in that book are absolutely stunning. I think I love it even more than Shooting Star. Second is within the similar vein of that. It's Godule by Hannah Carlzon. Hannah Carlzon's books have never really appealed to me until I saw her Christmas book and I absolutely became obsessed. Though unfortunately it is out of stock and is not coming in stock again until next year, so I'm just gonna wait for the English edition to come out, which unfortunately isn't coming out until August. But you can be betting as soon as that book becomes available to pre-order on Amazon, I will be purchasing it. The next two books are coming out very early in 2025, so I can't wait to get my hands on them. It is Dream Voyage by Melpomene Chisapenagyotu. We have not been given any sneak peeks for this book, but I know I'm going to love it. I got my first Melpomene book this year, which was Enchanted Earth, and I immediately knew that my coloring style and her illustration style just go hand in hand together. They work so well together, and I hope Dream Voyage is the same situation. And then I'm also very excited for Lulu Mayo's new book, which is A Million Kittens. For those who are regular watchers of my channel, you'll know that I have 2 cats and I love coloring any pages that have cats in them, so I have a feeling A Million Kittens is going to be right up my alley. Question number 2, how many pages do you want to color in 2025? I have a lot going on in 2025. I'm going to be moving, I'm going to be getting married, so I'm factoring that into this goal because I probably won't get to color as much, so I'm going with 80. That feels like a solid number that I can achieve. It's a little bit of a challenge, but also feels like an achievable challenge. You can tell I've been talking for a while. My words are starting to get all muddled in my brain. Question number 3 is, what techniques would you like to learn or improve on in 2025? Obviously, I want to improve just as a colorist in general. I want to improve all of the skills that I've learnt this year and just grow and develop further. But some of the techniques that I do really want to get under my belt in 2025, I want to learn how to use oil pastels in coloring books, which may or may not be a video that I will have coming out next month. As I said previously, I want to get better at bokeh backgrounds. I really want to learn how to do a Northern Lights background, which I think I might be able to achieve with oil pastels. That's what I'm hoping for. I also really want to do a monochromatic color challenge next year as well. I want to do an entire page just in one color and see how that goes. I think it'll be a really good test of my shading skills. And then I also really want to get better at doing galaxy backgrounds. I want to keep honing that technique, try it with different mediums like watercolors, maybe oil pastels as well, see which medium I think is the best for achieving a galaxy background look. And then I just want to continue improving my hair, skin, fur, and light source coloring. I'd really love to get some solid foundations in place for those techniques. Question number 4, are there any coloring books that you'd like to complete in 2025? No, there isn't. I'm not someone who feels the need to complete my coloring books. I more want to make sure that I'm giving equal love to all the books in my collection, if that makes sense. Like, I would love it if all of my books had the same number of pages colored in all of them. Obviously, I'm not going to get to the same level that I have with Small Victories. I think I've colored like 43 pages in that book. But rather than focusing on a particular book, I just want to show equal love to all of the books in my collection. Question number 5 is, what coloring book is at the top of your wish list? For this answer, I'm not going to be including any 2025 new releases, just books that are already published. And I think the one that's at the top of my wish list at the moment is Nuno Therapy. I love Boule de Poire so much, and whenever I see flip throughs or colored pages in Nuno Therapy, I just think that little teddy bear is absolutely adorable. So I definitely think that's at the top of my coloring book wish list at the moment. Question number 6 is the same question, but in regards to coloring supplies. I think a supply that I really want to get my hands on, which isn't necessarily the most fun, but I think will be really practical for me, is the Arteza water brushes. I see Karen from My Colorful Country Life use these, and they seem pretty good for the price point, because the water brushes I have at the moment are real cheap and the bristles are all getting frayed and not nice, so I really do need to upgrade in that department. And then I also do think I want to try some polychromos in 2025. I hear people talk about them all the time, and I'm just really curious to see how they work. I don't think I would buy the full set straight away, maybe like a 12 or 24 set, just to see how I like them. And then the final question of this video is, what are your coloring goals for 2025? I am setting myself 5 goals for next year. The first is the goal of coloring 80 pages over the entire year, which, fingers crossed, I should be able to achieve. The second is more into regards of the channel, which I want to upload at least 60 videos in the year. That is the equivalent of 5 videos a month. Unless if wedding planning and moving takes over my life, month. I should be able to achieve that since I have been doing 6 videos per month at the moment. My third goal is to document every supply that I use for every page because I always get to my completed pages video at the end/beginning of each month and I can't remember all of the supplies that I use. So I'm gonna be tracking that in 2025. I'm also gonna have the same goal as I did for this year, which is have no untouched books in my coloring book collection. I feel like I'm gonna have to omit any books that I get for Christmas within this goal because if I get 2 or 3 books for Christmas, there's no way I'm gonna be coloring a page from each. I mean, I could. I'll review that goal at the end of next year. I can decide whether or not I completed it or not. And my 5th goal is to do more challenge videos on the channel. Although I do love tutorials, I really want to have a little bit more fun in my videos, experiment a little bit more. And I think doing challenge videos really pushes me as a colorist and gets me outside of my comfort zone. So if there are any challenges you think I should take on in 2025, definitely let me know in the comments below. But there we have it, everyone. I have been talking for a long time. My throat is starting to hurt. I need to get some water. But if you also have a channel here on YouTube for coloring, feel free to take any of these questions and answer them yourself in a video. Definitely tag me so I can watch it. Or if you don't have a channel, feel free to answer any of these questions in the comments below. I always reply to as many comments as I can. Thank you so much for all the love and support on my coloring pages and this channel this year. I'm very excited to see what 2025 brings. So in the meantime, happy coloring, friends. Have a good day, have a good life, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!